Hello, welcome to Easy Plays MTG. I'm Ez, and we're going to be making some easy plays in Magic the Gathering. Today, I am going to do a Spelltable tutorial video. I was helping some friends just pretty much in this past week that were having interest in playing on Spelltable, and so I'd helped them with that, and I'd already considered making this video, and so I just kind of told myself, you know what, we're going to get this video made. Get it on my channel so that lots of people that want to know and navigate Spelltable can do that. The first thing, once we're getting into Spelltable's website, it might prompt if you want to download their app, which is fine. I just go through a browser. It saves me a little bit of time that way. It's going to make sure you are signed into your Wizards account. That's what this little box up here is. It's your little profile button there. The main Spelltable page will first list any of your games here. We'll get into that in a little bit. It also has all of the current active public lobbies that are here. So you can see that it just changed a little bit to adjust what's needing players or what is full. But from here, you have the format that you can toggle down. So this is just all of it. It has any format available. You can see that there's Pauper, there's Pioneer, there is mostly Commander. Commander is the most popular Magic format, but if you hit the format toggle, it'll open up whatever format you're wanting to see. So if you want to filter it out to just Commander, you can do that. Most of the time, any format should find your Commander games, but being able to play with other formats, you'll want to know to toggle that. All of the pages here, it's a little early in the morning, so there's not a whole lot of lobbies at the moment when I'm recording this, but full public lobbies still list on the main page here. Just because it's a full lobby doesn't mean it's not listed as public, and so it does just stay there. But yeah, I'm just going to be going through create a game here to get through what we're doing. Creating a game, we'll start with all of these little boxes here. Name. So you'll want a lobby name. Spelltable Tour. And then the name here is what shows up down here. CDH, Pauper, all of that. What format? Again, if you have a particular format that you're wanting, great. It does default there on Commander since that is kind of the popular one. If you're just playing with a full pot of friends, awesome. You don't have to make the game public like this. It will have a lobby link for you in game that you can just copy to clipboard and send to them, and we'll get to there. Let's say you have one friend that you know you want to play on Spelltable with, but you want to still have a full pod. I would still recommend making the game public initially, because in making the game public, you have the language dropdown, which you don't get if you just have it be a closed lobby. It'll default on other, I believe, if you just create a private lobby and then adjust it to public. So I do recommend just making it public initially and flipping it back and forth so it has the correct language that you would like to play in. So for me, that would be English. The other drop down here with making the game public is you can mark the game as will the game be streamed, which will add a little red dot by the title on the main lobby page. I also, when I'm recording on Spelltable, I mark in the lobby name, recording game, because I'd like to do my part ahead of time in addition to my Rule 0 pre-conversations there, that players are aware that I will mark it as streamed even if I'm just recording, just so that they know I intend to have more publication out of my game that I am recording than just playing in a closed lobby. I'm pretty sure the description, you can type what you need in there. I don't really know where to find description things. I will have to see going forward on that. But again, I don't need the game public for this little tutorial. And so I just have all this. I'll leave it on Commander so I can walk through the box layout there. But then I'll hit Create Game, and it will take me to my Inputs page. Not my first take, and so I already have some of my settings here. I place the mute on my microphone. You can click the camera to toggle your camera on and off. The important thing here from this page is once you've hit that create game or you've joined the lobby and it takes you to this page, is you have a spot in that lobby. But the thing to take care of in this page before getting into the game is this settings button right here, where it has your camera source, your mic source, and speaker source, making sure that those are all correct for your play. Use mobile device as webcam. You are able to use your mobile device. I do not have any experience doing that. I do have a couple friends that do utilize those. I believe it should just prompt a QR code for you to scan with your phone. Takes you to the lobby page through your phone as your webcam that way. Your camera source with the use custom aspect ratio will just default as off, and if you were to toggle it, it does default on the device provided. On the drop down, you have a few other options here. I do like the 4:3 standard for my play. So when I hit the close down here, it will refresh my camera view to what I selected on the custom aspect ratio. The 4:3 just sees the entirety of my mat without going too far beyond what needs to be seen as I'm playing a game. But once you're ready to join the game, you'll hit join now, and we'll get right into everything in the game itself. Starting right here, if you join a lobby, I have my commander layout set to the 4 corners, which I will usually keep it as. We'll get more into the layout options in a minute. But once you're joined in for this commander game here, if you're wondering who the host is, this little yellow icon to the left of my name shows that I'm the game host. So that little yellow shield looking icon there indicates the host player. But your important thing here is going to be this name bar right away once you're getting into a game. For your commander players here, it has your commanders that you can toggle in. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in Osgir, the Reconstructor, and for things that are more unique, it's going to pull the right card up immediately. For things that have a little more similarity in other card names, it will have a longer list. You'll be able to select the right commander once you've typed the thing out. Your arrow keys on your keyboard can also do that as well to go down and find the right card for your commander. Once your commander is in, look at that. You can hover over that name and it will pull the card information up as you hover over it right away. It also adjusts what colors you're playing so that other players can more easily see what is in your color pie. The selections down here have infect as separate damage total sources that could cause loss of game. This other tab here does indicate commander damage. So with other players, once their commanders are in, it does list their commanders here. The important thing is you are responsible for tracking the commander damage on yourself. Other players can't just go in and adjust their commander damage totals on other players. So the important thing is if I was dealt 4 damage by Osgir, that I have to track this commander damage. If another player wants to see how much commander damage I have from Osgir, they can click on my name bar and it will show to them that I have 4 damage, but they are not able to adjust it at all. The last thing in here, there is a second commander thing if you have partners or anything. For my Osgir CDH deck, I do tend to have Zerta listed in here as well. But the last thing in this little name bar drop down is the edit deck list. And so you can do that bring a list in from Moxfield or Architect. And so it shows your current deck list. But once you have one in there, you can hit this clear to empty it out. My current deck list that I actually have right now. So once you're here, it will have your view deck list. I just have linked as my YouTube channel for the ease of my players that I play with, saying, hey, if you click my deck list, it'll take you to a link for my YouTube that I just set up. And that makes it a little easier for them to find my YouTube channel. Returning here, however, the important thing with the view deck list, if you're wanting to see deck list, is if you shuffle the player order, the deck list buttons will stay in the order players joined the lobby. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 respectively. Starting player, it would be this top left. If I refresh the page, which I will also demonstrate in a little bit, refreshing the page will straighten out whose deck lists are where to the correct player. Yeah. I believe I would like to get to the bar on the left here now, so we will do that. The very top here, pass the turn order space bar. So when you click or press space bar, you introduce the turn order, and it has the yellow box here for who is the active player. The timer that showed up here does show how long it has been the active player's turn. Passing the turn here just makes it go away because there's no other players, but it would just pass it around the table, your starting player being the top left here. Again, you have your mic and video feeds if you'd like to toggle with those. This section right here is your layout. So you can see the yellow highlight on my 4 corners layout. You are able to adjust your layout. So if I have this top one selected, it will show the active player right here, and then it will show the other players here on the left. With this last layout that they have here, it should be one active player here, and then I believe it should just have the other 3 down on the lower side. I don't play around as much with that. I do like the 4 corners so I can see all the play fields at one time. If you just want to pay extra attention to the active player's turn, then those layouts might suit you a little better. It only adjusts how you're viewing the game. The other players can still toggle their own layouts for that as well. This little arrow is just hiding the game panel on this left-hand side, which I don't need. I like having all of my buttons readily accessible here. I'd mentioned earlier that once you create a game, you can invite players. So that's this little link right here. This invite players link here, you just have to copy to clipboard. Great. And then you can send that to your friends, to whoever you're inviting, Discords, etc. You can also do that from the lobby page if you are a host. So for me, I'm a host. I tend to have an extra Spelltable tab open here. And so it currently shows my active games that are going on at the moment, which I can rejoin from here. It does boot me out of my other tab, so I don't need to do that. But clicking here will do that same thing. But it shows how many players are in your lobby, what the format is. You have the invite players link right here, as well as the delete game, so it would close that lobby. Keeping this second tab open helps keep an eye on if my lobby, it's called if it breaks the lobby, where a player joins the lobby successfully but closes out incorrectly, and so Spelltable, it recognizes your player count as adjusted, but then if I'm in here, it will only show, so if I had someone do it in this instance, it would only show me in here. My secondary tab would show 2 of 4, and it adjusts for your commander game. It makes everything all sorts of funky. For those of you wondering, the correct way to be leaving a game on the settings here is just this leave game button. If you're closing your tab or browser entirely, it incorrectly leaves and breaks the lobby, the host would need to shut down and reopen another lobby, which I have done plenty of times. The buttons here for non-host players is just the configure inputs, preferences, and leave game. Configure inputs was just this screen. As I was saying, you're not able to adjust the custom aspect ratio from here, but you can adjust your sources for your inputs. The preferences here just has a focused layout. Switch focus on turn change, and so again, that's another highlight thing for active player changes. The buttons all down here are host options. So if you are not the host of a lobby, this will not be available to you. The host can reset the game, which if I hit reset, brings this window, toggles what's going to change. So it resets the game entirely, resets the commander set, and resets the game log over here, which I will get to in a minute. So if I just reset, wonderful, it cleared out all the commanders because I'd had that toggled. It's sometimes very helpful to turn off the commander reset just because you might be playing with the same commander. Your other players might be playing with the same commanders. Host options here, change game to public. So because it's a private lobby right now, I would be changing it to public. But that's what I was saying earlier. If you have 1 or 2 friends and you want a full 4 on your commander game, I would start it as a public lobby, join the lobby very quickly, and then change the game to private to make sure your friends make it in, but then you have your correct language selected for your players. Turn on phases, I don't usually worry about at all. Just the turn order is what I'm wanting to track. Manage players, so if I click in here, this is just how you can manually adjust the turn order. So if your players all agree that you want to die roll, great. You can adjust the turn order like this manually. How you're usually wanting to start a game and how I usually determine my turn order is randomized player order. And I will do that anywhere 2 to 4 times just to help with ensuring enough randomization is input. So the randomization of player order won't do anything for right now because it's just me in here. But usually if for whatever reason the exact turn order stays the same when I click it, I don't count that. I want to see a visual shuffle on our turn order. But then it shuffles and whoever's in this top left is considered your starting player. Below the settings icon is a dice, which has coin flip as well as dice options to roll. So if you want to perform a game action in the Spelltable lobby for tracking through the game log over here, this is what you'll do. So coin flip or D6, whatever. Usually folks are still just going to roll dice down here for coin flips or D6 rolls kind of thing. But for demonstration, so we'll flip a coin. It'll bring up just a little quick animation and tell you what the result is. Goes away fairly quickly. But over in the game log on the right-hand side, has your little before start recommended rule 0 conversation, etc. And then has what player did what action and what the result was. And it'll do that same with a D6. Look at that, has D6 animation, tells me what I rolled, and has it over here. But that's the game log and selects all that. If I were to show a few cards that I have right here and available, let's just grab one more. So right here on my mat, I've placed a few cards. Something you're able to do on Spelltable is click, and in the game log, it'll recognize what you've clicked on here. However, if you go over to cards, guess what? Recognizes right there. It's not a pre-release Archfiend of Ifnir. Interesting that it should pick that up. But it does recognize most other arts. Nekusar here might be a little farther down for it to read it successfully. Interesting. Does it recognize the Wizard's rockets? Yes, it does. Has the Wizard's rockets right over here again, highlighting over it. We'll enhance it a little bit if that's needed for you, but you can view on Gatherer from this 3 dots over here, as well as remove card. The easy way to remove card as well is just the little trash can icon there. You can choose to hide this. When I'm recording games, I do also just toggle this away because I do want as much of my field game as I can. I don't need to click on cards or have access to the game log most of the time. So I do tend to just hide that. I do have a good job of having Gatherer up as well when I'm playing, just so I can search that on my second monitor that I have with me for that. Down after the dice here, we have keyboard shortcuts. So you can adjust. No, you can't adjust. I didn't think you could adjust. Okay, so you can't adjust it, but looking at this right here, it just shows you all of the shortcuts, excuse me, for what each action is. So as long as you're currently in the window, this game tab, you can use your arrow keys on your keyboard to just adjust your life total nice and easy without needing to necessarily click the whole life total there. But just clicking out of that has your FAQ, and then it has your view onboarding, which is not always the best way to learn through Spelltable. I do still want to make this video just so you know what's going on in the lobby game. But yeah, that is pretty much a tour of Spelltable. I do recommend playing around with it a little bit yourself yet. If you're interested in playing on Spelltable, absolutely make sure you are know enough of what you're doing. Be prepared to have a little bit of patience with folks. It's not always as easy playing with physical cards online, believe it or not. So having a little bit of patience with the other players in the game so that we can handle priority correctly, or so that we understand what a card is and does and what that means for the gameplay, is all very important to making sure we maintain a healthy environment playing on Spelltable. If you like this video, leave a comment. I do play on Spelltable for my games, and so I hope to bump into some of you folks as well. Until the next time,